Hi, everybody, and welcome to How Did You Show. Today, my guest is our wonderful one and only Andy Thomas, who I consider my mentor. He is absolutely incredible in what he does. He is the king of assisted sales, and therefore we thought he's going to be an amazing guest for our show today for the property beginners. So, Andy, hi.
Hi everyone.
Hi. How are you?
Hi, thanks. Very, very well, thank you. Pleasure
Thank you.
to be here.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us on the show. It's really an
Yeah.
honor that you said yes. Really excited about having you. So for those who don't know you, can you just tell us a little bit about who is Andy T? Who
Yes.
are you? And a little bit about you.
Yeah, so currently I am one of the directors of Blue Oak Properties, or the Blue Oak Property Group. We set up Blue Oak in October of 2019. That's been going. We have a very wonderful Facebook community that we is growing every week. I think as it's at the time of recording this, we're just over 3,000 members, and it is an honor and a privilege to be a director of that company and also be one of the three people that is sort of leading that group and watching over that group. The common theme amongst the group is family, and I think a lot of people, it does feel like a family. It's there's a lot of support there. And we have Blue Oak Properties. We have a flagship product that we run, which is Expedition, where we mentor 12 people for 12 months. And we do that every quarter. At the minute, the time of recording this, the coronavirus is on, so it's on pause at the moment, but Troop 1 is underway, doing really well. Troop 2 is due to start, so waiting on that to get going again. And then obviously with my fellow directors, we're also property people. So I've got 15 years in the business. I've got an existing portfolio over in Liverpool, Merseyside, and love property. I love what I do, and I'm very passionate about, sort of helping the Blue Oak community and the property community at large, basically. So that's me in a nutshell as it stands.
Amazing. Right. So you're very passionate about property, and you're very passionate about mindset growth, this is the whole point really about this podcast. This is for the beginners who don't really know either where to start, or they're looking for a little bit of inspiration. We just are just hoping that you can share some tips and a little bit of your journey, which is very inspirational, as I know your journey, and I'm very inspired every day by you. So I thought everybody have to hear what Andy Thomas has to say.
Yes.
So Can we just go a little bit back? How did you actually start in property? Why property?
So it's a strange story. I actually had a ladies' clothes shop in Southport, and I came back. I lived in Greece for 2 years. Came back from Greece, tanned, no money to my name at all, but I had, prior to that, always worked in retail. But I had this plan in the second year of living in Greece. So I was just like, I was like, I can't keep coming back to Greece. I can't just live in Valaraki every summer. I knew that had that I had to have an ending to it. So in the second season, I was like, I'm going to start my own business. I'd always been interested in business and owning my own business, and et cetera, and I'd worked in retail up until that point. So I'd thought, and I'd been a manager of a couple of clothes shops in and around Southport, which is where I grew up. So I was like, right, I'm going to start a clothes shop when I get back. That was it. That was the that was the whole, the whole business plan, basically. Yeah. So I got home.
A bit random, though, when we think about it, how you're in the properties for 15 years. It's like a clothes shop, would not expect that.
It's weird. I'd done a few things, I'd done car sales and things like that. And, leading up to that point, I'd done door-to-door gas and electric conversions, working for Empower. So I was like knocking door-to-door. Hi, could I interest you in swapping to Empower?
Wow.
If you haven't done door knocking, you haven't done sales. That's
hard. That's hard.
Getting doors slammed in your face in the rain is not a nice way to spend the day.
No.
It is not a nice way to, literally slammed in your face.
No.
Mm-hmm. And I hate people. I don't know. I hate people coming up my driveway, knocking on my door, what do you want? What do you want?
I need to be more, one of them.
Yeah, and I need to be more sympathetic to them. Maybe I'm just because I've had bad experience. But anyway, it taught me a lot. It toughened my skin, and I did very well anyway at it. But then Yeah,
And it
so when I got
showed you what you don't want to do as well.
oh, absolutely. Gosh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a fantastic company. God, I still remember the name of the guy that owned the company. Meichi Ebo, his name was. A really, really lovely guy. And my manager at the company was called Kunle Akumpalumi.
And you,
Kunle, still remember their
wow,
names.
I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, and
How
that's
can
going
you
back
even remember?
20 years. They were just very big characters, and they taught me a lot. You know, it was one of those companies, very like an American-led company. So every morning you're in the office, stand in a circle, jumping up and down, loads of energy and stuff like that. And then they'd be like, right, jump on a train and go doing door knocking around Manchester. It was brutal,
Wow.
brutal. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
that's incredible. Okay,
Mm,
so that definitely toughened you up,
it did.
showed you what
Um,
you don't want to do
it did.
as well.
It
Okay, so
definitely
then,
did.
and then how did you come across property?
So I got the ladies' clothes shop open by hook or crook. I borrowed some money off. I went to the bank and said, "Here's my business plan. I wish I still had a copy of this business plan because Lord knows what was on it." And they basically said, "You know, okay." I asked for £10,000. They said, "We won't give you 10. If you can put 5 in, we'll give you 5. We'll match you." So off I went like Oliver Twist, trying to find £5,000 from somewhere. Borrowed £5,000 off a friend, and my father was a joiner. My dad did the shop fit for me, did a lovely job, and we found a unit in Wayfarers Arcade in Southport. And I opened a ladies' clothes shop. Did the ladies' clothes shop. Somehow made
Woohoo!
that work. Like, do not ask me how I made that work. It was crazy. I was off down. This was before smartphones and everything else. And picture me, you know, like 22 years old, going down to London on my own, trying to go find these like
Wow.
warehouses, go to the showrooms to pick ladies' clothes for my clothes shop with no Google Maps or anything, an actual physical map, trying to find
Oh my,
these gaffs. It
wow.
was mental. I don't know how I did it. I just found a way,
You
got
always
it
find a
done.
way.
Yeah, because I wasn't with the clothes shop thing. I don't want to dwell on this to it too much. But usually, what you're doing is you're buying the summer stock in the winter and the winter stock in the summer. So you're trying to pick, what's going to be fashionable in 6 months. Very, very hard thing to get right, and not many people do it. So, but I didn't have that skill. So I was just going and buying stuff that was, that I would get the next week. So I was just kind of looking at what trends would go in. You'd have to be quick, not ordering too much because things go out of fashion. So that was it. But I made it
Wow.
work. It was a very popular clothes shop. I
Wow.
also I also worked in my best friend's bar on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. And to say that I drunk every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night was an understatement. And I still managed to have the shop open on the days after. Maybe not on a Sunday. So, kept the shop closed on a Sunday because the arcade was dead.
Did
But
you
yeah,
used to be like a party animal?
yeah, we'd just lock the doors. We'd finish at 2 a.m. We'd lock the doors and we'd have a lock in. There'd always be 20, 30 people locked in the bar until whatever time. And yeah, sometimes I'd pretty, I went on more than one occasion. I went straight from the bar to the shop. You know,
Well,
so
it
I
was
had
your
about
shop.
yeah,
No one
I
could
had
fire you.
no, I had about for this reason I had about 15 part-time staff, not all working at once, but I had 15 options of girls that I could text and say, "Do you want to work in 3 hours?" sort of thing. So all I had to do was go to the shop, open up, and then just go and just leave because there's no way I could have been on the shop floor. So anyway, so I did that. It was making money. It was making
That's
okay money.
amazing.
I mean, back then I was still living with my parents, so and not really didn't really have any crazy outgoings. So sort of 500 to I think it was between 750 to £1,000 a week, out of the shop.
As a
It's a
gross
lot of
profit.
it's a lot of money. That's gross. Yeah, that's before the bills. The rates on the rates on the shop was £18,000 a year, and that was kind
Oh,
of what.
wow.
It was
Ooh.
it's a beautiful old Victorian arcade,
Oh, wow.
but it was very expensive, and but it was a nice little unit. It was a good little unit, and a friend of mine approached me and said, "Have you ever thought you knew I was? So you could see I was doing well, or maybe I gave the impression of doing well because I had went and bought a silly car and stuff like that, and I was just being a young 20-year-old." Didn't know which way was up, didn't really know anything about business, but had a business. Stupid. I was just always good at sales. And he approached me and said, have you ever thought about property? I was like, no, don't know a thing about it. And he put this beautiful glossy brochure in front of me, really, really beautiful. And I was like, ooh, it's just nice, like shiny penny. Yeah, very pretty. And he said, oh, look, we've got some units in Liverpool, and took me through the figures. He took me through the show reel figures, shall we say. Yeah. And that was enough for me to convince me to take all the money I had in the bank out of the shop, give it all to this property firm based in Manchester, Dillon Harvey, who I actually eventually went to work for as well. And I gave them a deposit. I closed the shop down, passed it on. Someone actually came in and took it over. Didn't make any money on it, but I took all the money out of the shop, gave them, and I bought an investment property, which was a flat in Liverpool. And yeah, so then I had no job, no business, no savings, no income, and a mortgage impending. You know, they thought this through. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
very brave.
I mean, stupid.
Or stupid.
There was no bravery there. It was just stupidity. It was stupidity. It was bravado. It was ostentation. It was, yeah, there was no plan there at all. It was, I was just, well, maybe at the time I was maybe sort of, I don't know how much longer I could keep up the drinking on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and having to manage the shop on the corresponding days afterwards. So I was like, I need to maybe look for something else. And I thought, well, the shop was costing me £18,000 a year. I had to be there every day and run a business, or I could get one of these flats. According to what was said in the brochure, I was like, well, that's good. I get to make money. And at the time, property prices were going up. I was like, well, I'll just take it on, keep it for a bit, sell it, make money. Yeah. This is everything because someone had fed it all into me. No education, no research, no due diligence. Didn't even know what due diligence was back then. And off we went. So then I needed to get a job because I needed a job because I had no money coming in.
You had a mortgage.
Yeah, and I blathered all everything I'd accrued from the shop went into the flat. The developer had given me 6 months rent free. I thought, that's bloody good. I've got 6 months sort of mortgage free, not rent free, mortgage free.
Okay.
So, but instead of filling it in that 6 months, I used it as a party pad for 6 months. So when I went to Liverpool, it's like, don't worry, we've got a gaff in Liverpool, boys. Like, this is me, this is a young 20 odd year old me. Then my friend had a mortgage company in Southport called Hamilton Mortgages. And he said, look, why didn't you come work for me? Trained to be a mortgage broker. It's mind numbing, it's dull. But while you're doing your CMAT qualifications, CMAT 1, 2, and 3, you can sit in the office, process the mortgages, and you'll learn about the house buying trade, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you're a mortgage broker, and he sold me, the dream of being a mortgage broker and the money and commission you can earn off writing mortgages. I was like, sold. It's a job. I think it was £15,000 a year. I think it was, before tax. So it wasn't a lot of money, but there was a bigger picture. And I felt like I was, I was educating myself. I was getting a qualification, et cetera, et cetera. So off I went, got a job, Hamilton Mortgages, started training, doing my CMAT qualification. The guy I was sat opposite was a chap called Rich Cowling, incredible guy, still a very good friend of mine to this day. He'd been qualified for about a year and a half and was an amazing broker. Like watching him on the phone, I was lucky that I was actually sat opposite him, because watching him on the phone, the way he was creative, I learned a lot from how creative he was, at getting deals through. A lot of it was him just flirting with the girls at the underwriting department at the mortgage company. And wherever he got a deal through, he'd send them flowers, chocolates, wine, and all that. And but we got a lot of cases through that that we got no's through at first, and it was it was crazy. But it was a crazy time. This is obviously pre-2008, and he had an existing portfolio. We got talking about property. I was like, oh, I've got a property, and I showed him it. The next day I took the info in, and he looked at it, and within 2.5 minutes, he was like, what have you done here? What have you done? And I was like, what do you mean?
Oh.
And he did some due diligence. I was like, do what? Do the due diligence. And he was just like, the rents in this area, in this building, do not cover your mortgage payments. Oh. I was like, what are my mortgage payments? I didn't even know what my mortgage payments were. This is bad. This is how bad it was. Oh. So he took me into the office, showed it to Nick, who was the owner, one of my mates. Everyone had a big laugh at my expense. They were like, leave it with us, you idiot. We'll get rid of it. So I was like, brilliant. 2 weeks later, they pulled me into the office and said, good news, we've sold your flat. I was like, great. How much do I make? I'm like, you don't make anything. You get to not go bankrupt.
Oh no.
That's it. So we sold it to an Irish investor. He took it on, and I had to borrow $2,500 off my dad to pay my legals and the investor's legals to get this weight from around my neck. So but I got out of it. So then after that, I was like, right, get out of jail free card there. But I wasn't put off by it. I think had I not been working in that environment, well, number one, if I'd not been working in that environment, I wouldn't have got away with it. There's no way I would have been it. I wouldn't have had the education or the foresight to sell it. I'd probably just stuck with it, stuck my head in the sand, and probably just lost £250, £300 a month. Maybe who knows what would have happened. But, thank God for that time. They got it sold. And yeah, got me out of jail. But then, because I was in that environment, I started learning, obviously doing my CMAP, and I was like, I just started understanding the house buying process, understanding how the lenders worked, understanding what the lenders looked for in a property, how valuations were done. And I got a real sort of solid base education on property. So I was just in there every day, doing my CMAP qualification, studying for that, and actually processing mortgages for other investors. So, and it kind of, it steamrolled from there. From there, I became qualified as a broker. What I was also very good at, the brokerage itself wasn't just mortgages. It was a one-stop shop, and I don't like that term, but that's what it was. They had mortgage department, they had a conveyancing, they had Hamilton conveyancing, they had an investment arm as well. So I was good at bringing in investors. So what we do is we'd find the deals, find the investors, sell the deal to the investor, make money on the sale, and write the mortgages for the investors. So Nick, and do the conveyancing. So it was all done. So Nick was making good money from multiple streams all under one roof. It was a nice little thing. So I got very good at finding the deals. I was just good at finding deals, and I was also good at bringing investors to the table as well. So I got so good at doing that Nick pulled me to one side. He said, listen, if you're not feeling, he could see I wasn't really feeling the mortgage broker thing, because I wasn't, just sitting across a desk filling in paperwork was never my strong point.
You had a business in you.
Business, entrepreneurial brain. I was just great at sales. Mortgage. Being a mortgage broker is sales. You sell, everything is sales. So you have to sell yourself. You sell your services, and instill trust into the people you sat across from. But actual raw sales, going out and bringing deals in and actual selling those deals to investors, that's what really, blew my skirt up, as the phrase goes. So, Nick was just like, look, you're better at that than you are as a broker. Let's be honest. He said, why don't you just do that for the company? I'll make you business development manager for the company, put you on a better salary, and you'll get a commission of everything you bring in. I was like, sweet.
Sounds much better.
It was amazing. And I earned amazing money. So I just went out playing golf, taking estate agents for lunch, so I would bring estate agents in. So then we'd write the mortgages for the estate agencies. So I was getting commission off that. I was finding deals. I got good at finding deals. So I was getting paid, even though I was a business development manager, I negotiated with Nick multiple different commissions for different things. So I was just out busy. I was very rarely in the office. It was great. Pissed everyone else off because everyone else sat in the office and I'm running around, playing golf. And it was like, why does he get special treatment? I was like, well, it's because he's bringing in 200 grand or whatever to the company, whatever. So yeah, so that was it. But then after a while, still making other people rich.
Yes,
still making other people rich. So then I had if you could have paused it, it would have been ding, light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Just like, I know how to find properties. I know how to fund them. I know how to, deal with investors. I know how to bring investor money together. And my dad's a builder. So I was like, what am I doing?
1 + 1 + 1.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, Dad, stop doing what you're doing. We're going to do this for ourselves. He's like, what are you talking about? You still owe me $2,500 from the last time you tried to get involved in property. And I was like, no, trust me, this is different. By the way, I had good money there, so I'm paid him back. Because, I had the $2,500 in my bank, because that's what, father and sons do. I think eventually he did give me it back. And he just wasn't interested. It took me 6 months of nagging him. And I was watching all these deals get done. I was like, Dad, these deals are getting done. People are making serious dough. The absolute bomb sites in like Anfield, Old Swan, Wavertree, Walton. We could be doing these ourselves. No. And in the end, I just ambushed him. I went and paid an estate agent 20 quid to give me the set of keys for a house in Anfield. He gave me the keys. I went and picked my dad up, said, come on, I'll take you for lunch. I didn't take him to lunch. I took him to the house. And I took him to the house.
Tricked your dad.
Yeah, big time. So anyway, because I knew as soon as I got him through the door and across the threshold, as it were,
he'll be like, ooh, there's so much to be done here. Let's make some money.
He's just like, that's crap. That door's loose. That would, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, right, good. And that's it. So, and
Right,
that's
good.
it. And we actually bought that house. We put an offer in on that house. And I bought it for cash. It was £28,000. Bought it across 4 credit cards. And I funded it and my dad did the work. And then that was it. And we snowballed from there. And we did that until we became self-funded. So we did that. We made about, I think my dad spent between 13,000 pounds, about 15 all in with everything. And then we sold it for like 56,000, I think it was. So, we made 10, 12, something like that, some amount of money on it. It was all right. It was a decent deal,
yeah.
After everything was taken out. So then paid off the credit cards. I was like, do you want to go again? Got another one here. I already had another one lined up. And he was like, okay, convinced him then. And then that was it. We were hooked. So we did that until we didn't need the credit cards anymore. And then we just became self-funded. And the model was that we do 3 or 4 and keep 1. So it was like sell 3, keep 1, or sell 4, keep 1. So the profits from the 3 funded the 1. So we were unencumbered from day one. And I think that was sort of due to, do you know what? If I think back, I can't even tell you. I think I just like doing things for cash. My dad's old school, he's 6'3", old school Scouser. I think he liked the thing. We never got the banks involved. And bearing in mind, I'd just come from a mortgage company where I was writing, 100%, 105% mortgages for people. People were getting houses for free and getting paid to get them. And I think, I had suggested that to my dad. He's like, why do we need the banks? You've got to ask a bunch of questions, answer, to the lenders. We've got the money there to do these deals. And because we were operating in the, the 25 to 30,000 pound price bracket, we didn't really need the banks, because we had that cash.
So you just funded
and it was
all
just
yourselves.
It was quick, and because we were cash, we got better deals. The people we were. Yeah, and we've got offered more deals. People knew what we were about. The people we were working with, we got a lot of stuff. We got off market. We got exclusivity on a lot of deals and stuff. So, and that was it. And we just built this, not incredibly sexy, but it was efficient. It was fully let. They were done up to a nice standard, still are. And it was, unencumbered. And then the recession came. 2008 came, and the banks shut the doors. So our model of sell 3 buy 1 disappeared because we didn't have the exit strategy. Right. Not at the levels, not at the levels we needed. We didn't have the exit strategy. We had a pot of cash there in the bank, but we, if we'd have spent that, all we'd have ended up with probably would have been about £1,500 a month. I was sort of like, at this point, I was obviously slightly more educated, but at this point I was just like, how is that worth it? Is it worth spending that much money, all the money we've got, just to add another, 1,200, whatever, 1,500 quid to the bank? I was like, just stop. We'll stop what we're doing. We've got the portfolio, we've got income coming in, we've got a bit of a pot there. Let's just see what's going on. And at the time, I was listening to outside influences. The market's crashed. The market's on its arse. This, that, and the other. Wasn't educated then. And so I should have been going out doing everything I possibly could, like Oliver Twist. Like didn't go into what I had to do to get the money to open the shop. I should have been doing that to squirrel money together, build a war chest, and start buying all these properties, for next to nothing. But I was listening to. I was listening to the media and family, friends, and stuff like that, and
people who don't know.
Exactly. And everyone's like, "Oh, I bet you're regretting being in property." And I was like, "Not really, because we weren't trying to sell our portfolios. A lot of people were panic buying or panic selling, sorry, when the recession came. But I was like, portfolio is full. We've got a waiting list of people that need the houses." So I was like, "Not really. If I had a few, luckily we didn't have anything we were trying to sell at the time. It's just the way it transpired." So yeah, it was. So I was just like, I did, don't get me wrong, we did panic, just like, bloody hell, the house prices have dropped, but it was just like, we weren't trying to sell them anyway. We'll just sit on it and just collect the rent every month, because rents weren't going anywhere.
People need to still live somewhere.
Exactly. So that was it. And I did, so I just did deal sourcing through 2008, 2009, bit of 2010, and just sourced. So I was still very good at sourcing deals. And I was just selling, all these cheap properties, 40p, 50p on the pound, 40p really, some as low as 30p on the pound, to cash rich investors. I was like, what are these guys doing buying houses in this market? Do you know what I mean? That was me. It's me, Mr. Stand up at the front of the room and talk now. Well, that was me, 12 years ago. That was what's coming, because you don't know what you don't know. That was me being uneducated.
Of course.
And I thought I was king dingaling, because I was getting paid when everyone else was going bust.
Yes.
I was charging fees for, finder's fees for selling these properties.
But now you know differently.
Big time. So yeah.
That's really cool. That's really, really inspirational. Really amazing story. And especially for what is really incredible is that you had bad experience with your first property and you did not get scared. Of course, you had, you got yourself educated through your job, but you did not found the job by accident. Like, you found your job as well because of your personality and your skills, etc. So it's all your self-development, which is amazing. And you did not get scared. And this is really, really important for the property beginners out there, because people could have a bad experience. So many people, they try it, they have bad experience, and they quit, they give up, they think, no, this is too hard, I can't do it, because I lost money there or there. But it just shows that you are one of those examples with the story you just told us that it doesn't, just because you have one bad experience, that's just like with anything else in the life. You can have a bad experience in many things, and that doesn't mean that you can't, let's say even with a cooking, just simple things like that just because you screw it up once, that doesn't mean that you have to stop cooking.
Exactly.
So, it's so amazing. So now can you tell us a bit more about, so we know that you are absolutely king of assisted sales. Now, can you just quickly tell us, just briefly for the beginners, what assisted sales actually is? And can you tell us about your first one? How did you, as that's the name of the show, how did you get your first one? And can you tell us a bit more about it?
Absolutely. So the assisted sale basically is as it sounds. It's assisting a seller to sell their property. So you don't take control, you don't own the property, you don't buy the property, you don't even exchange contracts on the property. You would negotiate with a vendor, and it has to be a very specific set of circumstances for it to work. But let's say there is a property that you deem to be worth 70 in its current condition, but would probably be worth 100 if it was done up with, new kitchen, new bathroom, curb appeal, etc. And the vendor just simply doesn't have the money to do it, and they just need a quick sale for XYZ reasons. What you can do is you can use a lease option contract or an assisted sale contract. They're basically the same. A couple of other legal forms like an RX1. Sometimes a power of attorney is used, a management contract. Just a very specific set of paperwork, all legally done, all legally signed off by the lawyers. And you can, once all that paperwork's in place and you have the vendor's permission and enough security on the property, you can go in, do the work yourself, and do whatever is required, put the new kitchen, bathroom, flooring, curb appeal, etc. And then you can then put it on the market and profit from the sale. So whatever price you agree, if you'd agreed £70,000 or 75 or £80,000 with the vendor, and let's say you spent, 10, 15, everything over and above the £80,000 would be yours to keep. So if it's sold for 100, 105, when the money comes into the lawyers, you put a fee disbursement in or just an invoice. Every lawyer's different. When the money comes in, it's all agreed because the paperwork's all there in place. Lease option, management contract, RX1. sometimes the power of attorney. And when the money comes in, the lawyer goes, okay, X amount goes to the bank. If there's a lender involved, the next section goes to the vendor up to 80,000 or whatever you agreed. Everything over £80,000 comes back. You get your refurb money back and any profit derived from the money on top. And that's an assisted sale. And I absolutely love them.
Right.
And I've lost count the amount of them that I've done. Yeah.
And that's why we call you the king of them. The king of assisted sales.
That, or the queen, some might say.
Now, oh yeah. Now, for those out there who are just starting out, that sound. If I would be just completely in the beginning, which I kind of still am, but I have some sort of knowledge now. For those who are just starting out, that sounds a little bit risky. Could it be risky? I mean, like you investing money into a property which is not yours. How would you explain that to? Yeah.
No, it's a great question. They are, in terms of risk, I would say they are up there in terms of risk, and not to be done on a whim. You need to have a good understanding. There's a few skill sets I think you would need. Number one, you'd need to understand how to sell the concept to a vendor. So you need to have a good understanding of how lease option contracts Just reading the contract is beneficial as a starting point. Reading the management contract, just so you understand it. You don't use the word lease option or assisted sale on the appointment or anything like that. You don't use any of these terms. You let the lawyers work that out between them. But having that understanding is very important, because you need to be able to sell you and the concept to the vendor. So you're educating yourself on actually how the structure works is important, because they will ask you questions. Well, can we do that? You know, what about security? What are the risks? You need to be able to answer all these questions on the appointment and instill confidence into them that, you know, you're the right person to be doing business with. The next thing would be having a good base knowledge understanding of how to price a refurb up. You know, we need to be able to sort of do that in the hop. There is no real secret source or course you can go on. That just comes from doing them. From doing refurbs, you know, you kind of have a good understanding. I could give everyone a rough rule of thumb. I can show you invoices, you know, hundred of invoices that I've had off builders over the years and schedules of works that I've had put together. And generally speaking, you kind of get a feel for it. You know, a 5-bed HMO, to replaster a 5-bed HMO might be £3,500–4,000 £4,000. When you're working in a certain area as well, if you're working on your gold mine area or on your patch, you you're working with the same contractors, and you kind of get a feel for, you know, once you've done a 1-3-bed house, when you do another, oh well, that cost me that. So it's kind of the same, unless they're going to start pulling the walls off and finding, you know, God knows what. You know, stuff like rewires are hard to spot. But again, once you've done one rewire, you're just like, okay, well, that cost me that. I know it's probably going to be in the region of this. Let's get a quote. But you need to have a good base knowledge understanding of how to price them, and also what to look for an appointment, because you are assisting them to do the sale. So there's generally work involved. Okay. There is also deal trading. I'm not talking about that today. That's slightly different. Scratch that. But there's assisted sales. You need to, generally speaking, you're going to be going in there. For the main part, the good news is when you're starting out, it's mainly cosmetic stuff. So nothing structural. You know, you're not looking to get planning permission. I am doing large-scale assisted sales now, where there is planning and structural work involved. It's just because I've been doing it for a long time and I'm comfortable. And my attitude to risk is non-existent.
And it comes with, for you now, it just comes with the natural development, doesn't it? You've just been doing it for a long time. So of course you don't need to necessarily doing the small little deals, because you've done those. You learn how to play this game well. Now you can scale up your game. Amazing. Exactly. But can I ask you about the lawyers? Because something like assisted sales or something like lease option, they're not very common words in common phrases, I'd say, for many people. Now, would you say that you can use any lawyer, or do you need any specific lawyer? Because this is, again, we need to remember this is for the beginners. So if they found a perfect, let's say, assisted sales deal, can they just call any lawyer, or would you make sure that your lawyer understands the different strategies? What would you recommend on that?
Yeah, absolutely. You need a specialist. You need a solicitor, really. Not a conveyancer probably won't do an assisted sale, because there's no conveyancing really. taking part. You need a specialist solicitor that can draw up this contract, and ideally you need 2 sets. You need one to represent you and one to represent the vendor. You always need to represent. Always need to get the vendor represented, get legal advice, and it needs to be with a solicitor that specializes in this specific area. Okay, so you need to go out. They're not hard to find. You know, if you just asked a question in the Blue Oak community, you'd find a solicitors. You'd probably get a dozen or more responses saying, you know, use XYZ solicitors. So, or even if you just find one, if you find one solicitor that does it and represents you, the chances are they're going to know another solicitor that they're happy working with, who can represent the vendor. So, and it's very important, and that sort of tracks back to your last question about risk. You know, having the solicitors in place does help mitigate your risk, and just to also track back to that, they are up there in risk. You can put certain things in place to reduce your risk. The solicitors is one of them, but there's always going to be a risk. The main risk is, and it's something that I would always teach, is to have multiple exit strategies. With assisted sales, generally speaking, there's only one exit, and it's the sale. So you've got to know. It's really important that you understand. You get good at due diligence. You know, you understand what the prices are, not just in the area, the quarter mile area on Rightmove, excuse me, but on the street. Like in Liverpool, for instance, prices can fluctuate from one end of the street to the other end of the street. Like that's how different it be, because at this end of the street is a very nice main road. The other end of the street, it's an absolute nightmare. So your due diligence with an assisted sale, just double down, triple down on everything, and then get your triple down figures checked by someone else if needs be, because you need to make sure. Generally speaking, you just want to make sure that don't be cutting your cloth too close for them. Make sure there is a nice healthy margin. I always make sure that there is enough margin in there to offer a discount on what I feel the market value of the properties on the street are, so I can offer a discount to the next guy and then still make a profit. So that's what I like to do. Okay. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. That was very, very, very useful. Right. So you've been doing assisted sales now. So you've been in the properties for like over 15 years. You absolutely love it. And you are really, really into a mindset as well.
Yes,
like what did your Blue Oak community, did they call you, of mindset?
I think Paolo, because I think my fellow business partner and brother in arms, Mr. Paul Smith, I think he might call me the king of mindset on occasion.
No, everybody. No, I'm talking everybody, your whole community. Now, so okay, we covered a little bit of the property. We mentioned something about the mindset. Now, for the property beginners out there, as you are really good in the mindset, you obviously had to change yourself as well, as you openly told us that you used to be like a party animal, you know, and all that. So, what did help you to change your mind? Like, did you read any books? Did you watch any documentaries, or what did you do in order to change, to help the mindset?
I think a big thing for me was reading. I started reading. You couldn't get me to read a book in school, and I really only started reading, I would say, probably around 2008. That's when I really started doing it, and there was a couple of books, the first books that I read, that really sort of helped change my mindset, and it was Rich Dad Poor Dad made a huge difference. I mean, it's everywhere now, Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I read that. I read The Secret.
Sorry, just before those, it's made from. It's written by Robert Kiyosaki. For those who don't know,
it is. Yeah, he's one of the wealthiest guys in Hawaii. And it's his story, his upbringing of having sort of two fathers. His father, who was the traditional sort of educational father, wanted him to go down the educational route, and he also had his friend's father, who was an entrepreneur and who owned several supermarkets and properties, etc., etc. And it was growing up with those two. So this other rich dad wasn't his actual another father, like stepfather. It was just you know, it was just someone who just, it was his friend's father basically, who
Sort of like a mentor for him. Like,
yeah,
because he
absolutely.
was younger, he called him like a dad. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And then like he gave them a job in like the supermarket when they were kids, and like, you know, paying them like a penny a week and stuff. And it's an amazing book. And when I read that book, I honestly felt like I was floating around on a higher plane than everyone else. I was like, I know so much more than 99% of the people walking around here. That's how it made me feel. Probably didn't, but I felt like it had opened something up in my mind. And I read that book, and I read it again and again, cover to cover. And then, you know, and then I got into audiobooks and stuff. So there was that. There was The Secret. The Secret was very, very powerful thing for me to read as well. I think a lot of people read The Secret and misunderstood it. A lot of people thought that you could just start thinking positively and things would happen to you. Like, you've missed the point of The Secret. You know, I think lazy people.
There's work in there. There's a lot of work involved.
Yeah, and you know, you've got to you think about it. You know, get it up there, and you know, get it in your mind, but also do the work. Put in the targeted effort towards the goal that you know, the thing that you're trying to you know, bring to life in your mind. So that was a big one for me. And then there was Think and Grow Rich as well, by
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill, yeah, one of my favorite books ever. So, and I still read Napoleon Hill to this day about 3 times a year. It's like a field manual for me. Every time I read it, still to this, really it is. Every time I listen to an audiobook, but every time I listen to it, I pick up something new from it. Incredible book. And that really helped me with my daily affirmations. I got the sort of the template, if you like, and I talked about that this morning on a webinar that I ran. And that's where we got the template from that. And then there was The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattle. So basically, reading really, you know, really forced me to it forced me down the educational route, and then it really started sort of resetting something, and I really did take to it like a duck to water. I think as well, having the childhood that I had, where I was a footballer, I was fantastic at football. I don't mind saying it, and you know, I've got the achievements to back it up. But I didn't experience much loss in football. The only real loss I experienced was I was on the Sunday league team. For whatever reason, the manager would have me as substitute. He was putting me as substitute. It didn't make sense. I'd have been captain of my football teams growing up and stuff through school. For some reason, he was substitute, and I was like, and that really hit me. I was like, hold on a minute, I'm not a sub. I'm captain. You know, I'm the guy leading the squad. Now, the guy who was his son Chris was Chris, and he was the captain. That made sense.
Right.
And what that really, and I was ready to sort of quit and go and look for another team, because he was starting me as sub. I'd always get on. I was like, you know, it's just anyone who plays football understand you need to start. You know, you need to be on the starting 11. And I just wanted to quit. And then it was my brother. My brother actually pulled me to one side one day, and I was sat down at the side of the pitch. He was like, "Why are you sat down?" I was like, "Because I'm sub." He's like, "You need to be up, running up and down that line. You need to be getting to training half an hour before everyone else, or an hour before everyone else, and staying an hour late. If you want to get on that pitch, get in his face." And then from that day forward, that's what I did. It was tough, running up and down the pitch, and I would be. Luckily, the training ground was walking distance from my house, so I'd be there doing shuttles, warming up, and I'd always be there. I was the first one there, and generally speaking, the last one to leave. I'd stay at the end, and my brother would stay with me most times. God bless my brother and my dad. You know, they never missed a game. But that was the only that helped me. But in terms of actually experiencing loss, in terms of the team losing, we won everything. So yeah, it was funny to not have experienced loss is not a good thing. To not have failed is not a good thing, you know, growing up. And I was always told, "Oh, you're amazing at football." And then I'd go on the football pitch, and I was, So there was nothing I can't explain it any other way. Looking back, you know, I was just good at what I did. I thought I was gonna go pro. And yeah, in hindsight, looking back, that wasn't good because I was never forced to retrain my mind. So then I floated through my 20s, you know, just without having ever had to really show any true grit apart from getting myself off the subs bench to make sure I was starting every day. So, and then it wasn't until I started reading at the back end of my 20s that I was just like, it ignited something from that time back then when I had that conversation with my brother, and I took to it again. So, and I really took to and I just dived in and I immersed myself in mindset and really starting to educate myself. And yeah, and I developed a very strong mind. But the real strength came from the losses and coming back from the losses and coming back from the hits. That's where it comes from. And after a while, you know, I stared my worst fears down the barrel of the gun. You know, I was living stuff that didn't want to happen to me, and I was still okay. I wake up the next day, I'm still breathing, I was still fit, healthy, still had an education, still had the will to go on. And I realized once you've done that, once you've really been in a place where you're just like, I couldn't ever imagine me being in this place. And it was never an easy thing for me because I'd never experienced real loss growing up. You're a great, blah, 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 trophies, medals, you know, awards and stuff like that. You know, to be, you know, in me late 20s and 30s and sort of, you know, going through the recession and stirring, you know, certain things, you know, worst fears and living your worst fears. It's just like, and then you get through it and just like, you know what, that wasn't as bad. And just like, what else you got? And then the little things, the little daily things that scare a lot of people didn't scare me anymore. And I was just like, and then I just became sort of what I like to call, you know, this bulletproof mindset. And the real thing that set me free was just, I just became accountable for all my decisions. The day I realized that I was in control of my life and I was in control of my decisions and not anyone else. That really changed me, because then I was just like, you know what? I'm not in competition with anyone else. You know, there's enough out there. The books that I read, I realized that there is more than enough out there in the universe. And if I keep focused affirmations on my goals, working towards them, the universe will deliver. Always has, always will. I have no doubt about it. So, yeah.
Just have to keep a strong mindset.
100%. Not easy, by the way.
No.
I work on it every day. You know, I don't just wake up every day and like, okay, I'm done. I still, to this day, work on it every day. I still read my affirmations every morning, you know, on my phone. I still read educational material. I've got audiobooks on every day. Gary V says it. It's a never-ending daily campaign. And I'm in love with I love the fact that I am never a finished product. And I love the fact that I'm
student.
Exactly. You know, I love the fact that I stand in front of people and I am just a very imperfect human being, because I'm always just a work in progress. So, and I love that. I'm constantly evolving, because you don't, why would you ever want to get to a stage? Well, I personally, why would you get to a stage where you're just like, cool, I've reached that. But that's when you become stagnant and you stop. I think as human beings, we are naturally born to evolve and grow and get bigger. So I just embrace that concept, and I'm in love with the evolution of myself.
So you also have a podcast called Win and Tonic. They're quite relatively short episodes, even especially in the beginning. You've got 15, 20 minutes episodes just to give you a lot of inspiration about, you shared basically your thoughts of how you're dealing with a day, really. And it's very, very inspirational. So again, it's just for those you know, beginners out there, give it a listen, because it's definitely very inspirational. It really inspired me a lot. So yeah, you are always happy to share your journey, because it's not easy, and it's very, very fascinating. But it becomes easier when you fall in love with it. So absolutely. So it's all about that, isn't it? So
perfect way to describe it. Yeah. It's a perfect way to describe it. There's so many things to it, you know. Accounts of gratitude is huge thing. I mean, I'm grateful every single day. So gratitude is something that I practice every day. That's in my affirmations, and yeah, that's really, really helped me. And yeah, I love it. Like I say, I love it. Mindset's a fascinating topic, and it should be. If I had to start again tomorrow and I could take one thing with me, it would be my mindset, 100%. It wouldn't be, yeah, that's what's got me through the toughest times, the darkest times, you know, this recently, you know, personally from that, you know, and all that jazz. That is, it's unreal. Once you master that, I think even just accepting to yourself, telling yourself that you're willing to work on it, that in itself strengthens your mindset. Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge topic.
You went through a lot. You went through a lot recently, and
Yes.
you kept smiling every single day.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely,
Oh, yes.
incredibly inspirational. Incredibly
Yeah.
inspirational. So, talking about the mindset,
Yes.
you guys are incredibly passionate about the mindset, and as you are running your Blue Oak community, which was created for property, you realize how much people love you teaching about mindset and sharing tips about how to make your mindset stronger, how to make your mind stronger. So you created the High Peak Performance. This is the new project you created. It is a separate Facebook page as well. It's your new it's your new project, which is all about mindset, because mindset is very important for not only property but any business, for any friendships, relationships, work, absolutely anything. So the mindset is the key. So that's just another amazing addition to your Blue Oak family. I'm going to pop the link on the bottom as well, on the below, for anybody who's really, you know, interested in this, developing their mindset. I joined the 4-week performance. And I'm really, really, really excited about it. I already can see changes in me, even if it just started, because I'm taking it a bit more seriously. For me, that's not only for the 4 weeks. This is like changes forever. And you guys are amazing. You're just there always to help and support. It's amazing. So thank you for being there for us.
Thank you for joining it. You are embracing it, and you are definitely exactly the type of person we want on the on this program. Yeah, it is just about that. Yeah, it's about mindset. And it's just about trying to get people into good habits and daily routines. So it's a lot about that. Just small changes every day, just over time. So yeah, that's what it's there for. We're there to just keep everyone accountable. Yeah,
it's as the one of the posts I posted yesterday was small steps plus small steps equals big results.
Exactly right. Yeah.
All right. So we have covered some, your property journey, very fascinating property journey, your mindset journey. Now, can you just, you already gave us some book ideas for, for the beginners out there, but they were mainly to something to start with, what you said. Now, do you have any books or any documentaries to recommend now?
I would highly recommend the 10X Rule. Grant Cardone. I love him. We all need to accept that we're in sales. You know, life is sales. Anyone who says, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not in sales, yeah, you are. You're in sales. So, especially in the property arena or any arena, any business, you're in sales. So, read that book. It's just about, the main concept is about it. It's about 10X in your effort. If you want 10X results, you have to 10X your effort. And there's a great bit at the beginning of the book where it says, no matter what product you are trying to bring to the market, you will completely underestimate the amount of effort and time it's going to take, probably by a factor of 10. Even if it's a free product, there is always something that comes up. So you just need to 10X your goals, your productivity, and also it's about, come up short on a massive goal. You might as well. If you're chasing £1,000 a month, chase 10,000. Come up short on 10,000, because I guarantee you chase 1,000, you'll come up short.
That's
you'll be
nice way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be at 400, 500. Put in the work. If you want 1,000, put in the work to get 10,000. So don't do your sums and your figures. Don't, reverse engineer it from 1,000. Reverse engineer it from 10,000. How many calls, viewings, flyers, phone calls, how many emails, how many conversations you've got to have to generate 10,000. Do that work, and you'll forget about 1,000. All of a sudden, you're just like, shit, I'm at $6,000 a month here. I'm at whatever,
I was only aiming for one.
Exactly. Come up short on massive goals. The day you do that, the day your life will change. And it's just, and also you'll get to the 1,000 quicker.
Absolutely. Great advice.
It's an amazing book. Highly recommend it. Read it. I've read it 7 times. I'm going to read it 10 times because it's a 10x. So I'm going to read it 10 times. Listen to it. Sorry, I am big on audio, but I don't have time to sit and read. I'm afraid.
Me too.
So the 10x rule, the compound effect, amazing. I know you've just read that as well, and it's absolutely incredible. Slap you in the face. My God, this is obvious, but I'm not doing it. Advice. Sure. It's fantastic. Read that book. Read it again. 10x rule, compound effect. Listen to it again. And
that just reminds me, sorry, just very quickly, you guys also started a book club, Blue Oak Book Club, which is a new thing.
Andy T has a book club that I run.
So it's unbelievable.
Would have thought it? Unbelievable. And that's Friday nights.
And something like someone like Lenka that wants to join a book club is the same. We can shake our hands on this one.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So you said, sorry. So it's every Friday evening.
Yeah. So we pick a book. You got a week to read it, and we get together every Friday and we discuss it.
You're a nerd.
Big nerd. Love it. Love being a nerd and love my new nerd status.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Me too.
I am the laughing stock of every one of my friends. I'm loving it. Bearing in mind, the main laughing stock, are these guys who are massive, massive high achievers. Partner at a law firm. Investment banker. My other mate that owns I think he owns 5 or 6 recruitment consultancy firms. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah. It's funny. Look at all the reading they would have had to done to get where they are. And they're just laughing their heads off at me, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. The more people laugh at me about stuff like that, the more I want to do it.
Yeah, it shows you that you're doing something right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So one of my friends actually messaged me the other day and said, "Could I join your book club?" I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's the thing. That I missed the first week. No, not the first week necessarily. I missed the first 2 days when that was sort of like published that you're doing the book club. Then when I just heard of it, I heard of it through people talking about how excited they are about the book club. I was like, what's going on here? People are changing. It's like, oh, Andy T, what's the next week book? What we're doing? This is amazing. I'm like, wow, okay, let's get on this. Because I listen to books now as well. I was like, right now we have a group of people which you can discuss the book with. It's amazing. I listen to books as well, but it depends on what suits you, what suits your lifestyle. So it really doesn't matter if you read it. I mean, some people saying that reading is better because you train your brain more. You can remember more and things like that. However, for me, it's I learn fast by listening to book. If I would get a normal book, it would take me much longer to finish it. By listening, I can get through a few books a month.
I'll get to the bottom of a page and not remember what I've read. I'll just be like, I'm just reading the same page over and over again. It's like, this is going nowhere. And also when I read, I just fall asleep. Like, if you're ever struggling to sleep, just read. Nothing puts you to sleep quicker than reading. So I don't struggle to sleep, thankfully. It's a gift. It's a party trick of mine. I can fall asleep anywhere at any time.
Very jealous of that.
I'm sorry, my darling. So that's the other book I would recommend is David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. Now, I'm massively into my fitness. Health and fitness is part of my identity. Anyone who knows me will know that. I make no bones about it. I'm proud of it. Anyone who doesn't have health and fitness as part of the daily routine, I train every day. Anyone who doesn't have it as part of the daily routine, I challenge you to do it, to put it into your daily routine and not feel instantly better after a workout. 10 minutes. If you can go on a bar crawl on a Friday, you can walk around the park.
It's so true. And when we were talking about the Blue Oak, I'm just going to add, like, you guys, you understand how important fitness is. for your mental health as well, not just the physical health, for the mental health, especially if you're such a busy person and you have so much going on. You've got so many ideas all the time, so many projects going on. Mental fitness and physical fitness for your mental fitness is hugely important. And you guys also have Blue Oak Fitness Group. Of course you do. So it's you three boys, so you, Paul and Rich, and you got Amy there as well, which all four of you have same what do you call it, like the same mindset, same values, but different skills. But you all understand what it takes to be successful. So it's not only about read a book or get a course. It's so much more in it. It's the mindset, it's the fitness, it's your mental fitness comes with it. We're going to be wrap it up here now. Do you have any like a top 3 tips?
Top 3 tips. Yeah, it would be get good. Tip number 1 would be get very clear on your goals. Okay, get good at setting goals and understand what it takes to work to basically hit those goals. So if you haven't got goals, then you're unlikely to have a structure or a routine to your day. So getting good at setting goals and understanding what it's going to take to achieve the goals. Don't just write them down on a piece of paper. Don't just create a vision board with silly overpriced houses and stupid cars on it unless you're willing to do the work. Put an actual monetary figure to the stuff you're chasing. If you added all the stuff up on your goals, what's it going to take to hit those goals? Start at the end, reverse engineer it, and if you've got to make 100 calls a day, make 100 calls a day. If you're not willing to make 100 calls a day because you want to go meet your mates at the pub, or you need to go out, or something's going on, or you need to watch the latest box set on TV, not only will you not hit your goals, you don't deserve them. So that's it. Get very good at setting goals and even better at putting in the work to achieve them. Okay.
Nice.
Next one would be have a routine. Have a routine in your day, have structure to your day, and start it with the morning. There's win the morning and win the evening. Have structure to your mornings and to your evenings. It really will help. It's sort of talked about in the compound effect, call it bookends. So make sure that you are doing whatever you can. I know everyone has different schedules or stuff. You have to work out what's right for you, but have get a routine in your day, and the routine should help you form good habits. Your habits will help you work towards your goals. So the two are interlinked. Yeah. Tip number 3 is never stop learning. Yeah.
Hashtag forever student.
Forever student. You never ever stop learning. Don't be too. If you never stop learning, the other thing it forces you to do, you'll never be too rigid. When tough times come along, and tough times will come along. We're living in it at the moment. New world order. Coronavirus has pulled the rug out from everyone. Everyone has been leveled. No matter who they are. I don't care if you're, claiming housing benefits or if you're a Hollywood movie star. Everyone has been affected by this. If you continue to educate yourself, you won't be rigid, and when the storm comes, you won't snap. You'll be able to bend and adjust to whatever the market is doing. So that's a main thing. Never stop learning. Continually educate yourself, and if you can do that, you'll always come through the toughest times. Okay, yeah, that's my top 3 tips.
Well, fantastic tips. Absolutely amazing tips. If I am still a beginner, of course, but if I will be even now, obviously, sorry, what I try to say is that this podcast is for the property beginners. So I want to say that I'm sure that everybody who listens to this find a value, no matter if you are a beginner or not. It was like a very inspirational, great advice, great tips. So thank you very much, Andy, for coming to the show.
No, thank you for having me. You inspire me. You really do. You inspire me every day. You really do. Just the way you are, the way you act, the way you approach everything you do. You inspire me. You do. And I think you inspire. In fact, I know you inspire a lot of people in the group as well. So, yeah.
Oh, that's very unexpected.
Well, welcome. You're very welcome. It's true.
Thank you. That's really kind.
Mm.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here now. As I
Perfect.
said, thank you very much again for coming on the show. That was absolutely fantastic. I loved having you. Yeah, we'll see you all again soon.
Yeah, thank you
sometime.
guys.
Thank you,
for
Annie, and have
listening.
a fantastic day.
Thank you, darling. You too. Have a lovely day. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.